Bowling Green State University. One of the highest honors that we can bestow as state legislators is the presentation of a House resolution. So we have a House resolution for Coach Meyer on your induction into the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame. We had a really great panel today here at BGSU. Learned a little bit about his service and his record, so we won't go through all of that. But I do just want to share a couple of brief paragraphs. The expertise, guidance, and sound judgment of coaches, such as Urban Meyer, are critical to the ultimate success of any athletic endeavor. Due largely to coaches' tireless efforts, his players have emerged as winners, both on and out of athletic competition. Coach has gained the genuine appreciation and esteem of many for his fantastic work. With athletic competition playing such an important role in the development of role models for our young people, we are extremely pleased to pay tribute to Coach Urban Meyer for a job well done. His outstanding rapport with his players, as well as his fellow coaches, has been a vital factor in his accomplishments. He is certainly deserving of high praise. So, Coach, on behalf of my colleague, DJ Swearingen, myself, all of our colleagues in the Ohio House of Representatives, our Speaker of the House, Matt Hoffman, and our Clerk, Brad Young, DJ and I would like to present you with this resolution. DJ, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, the last thing you need on opening day is two politicians flapping their gums for more than 5 minutes. So we need to let the coach get going. But I will say, as an alum, proud to have had Coach Meyer here. I never got to watch him, but I did get to watch all the nice players that he recruited and left behind for us to have a couple successful seasons. And one of my favorites was a gentleman from Alaska that he recruited. Eventually got drafted into the NFL, played with Mike Vick for a little bit, I think. But, man, just incredible recruiter. And Coach Cooper said today, you recruit players, you're a good coach. And if you're able to go into Alaska and find talent at Bowling Green State University, you're a great coach. So thanks, Coach Meyer, for all your years of service. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Congratulations, Coach. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Sorry. I started almost every press conference. I would always say thanks for being here, because my first press conference at Bowling Green, there was one person there. And it was Matt Markey.
Yeah.
And then the old timer was the guy at the local newspaper here that only came out like a couple times a week. What was his name? So thanks for being here. What you got?
When you think back to your start at Bowling Green and kind of what the program has been since then, how excited are you to see Eddie George kind of continue that lineage and be the head coach at Bowling Green?
We're here, and I was very involved in Eddie coming here, and I was not here long, but the impact that I'd like to think that we made on this whole campus, and then I'm going to see so many former players that, I remember our mission was try to somehow find a winning season, because we were down for so long, and I remember I didn't even know that we didn't have air conditioner in our locker until it started getting real hot. I said, "Where's the locker room?" I said, "Turn up the AC, what in the hell's going on?" They go, "Coach, we don't have AC here." I was like, "Oh my gosh." And to see the Bob Sebo Center. The Sebo Center was actually, not many people know this, we were about 3 Silver Oaks in his back deck in Salem, Ohio. Good solid 3 Silver Oaks in. And I took out a pencil, a piece of paper, I said, "This is what we need." And I drew a facility in the end zone. And it actually looks somewhat similar to what it is. So
You're an architect too?
No. And I see the Stroh Center, because it used to be Anderson Arena. And Dockage was my neighbor, and this place was on fire. Going downtown and Trotters and Sam B's, and we loved it.
Does it feel like this place has a chance to be even more on fire than it was when you were here?
Yeah, the president and the AD, and I've done a little bit of homework. Roman's booming right now. The campus looks so healthy right now, and we all been places where it's not. And I'm not saying it wasn't that way when I was here, but it wasn't that way when I was here. People, the one thing is across my journeys is that whenever I talk to someone that was a graduate of BG, which I talked to many, they all loved it. Not one person, so that sucked. They love Bowling Green. They love everything about it. I said, how about the one hill? How about the wind come blowing through this place? And I remember so I first get here and they try to put me in the dorm. You probably heard the story. That didn't work. Then Dick Newlove got me a little place, and Shelley was in South Bend. I'm putting together a staff or running players are quitting left and right. And I'm like, what am I doing? I came from Notre Dame, and I remember we had to buy our own shoes. We had nothing. And I remember pushing the garage door opener of that little rental house that I was living in. And it was one of those 10-degree days, man, and the wind was blowing. And I saw a snow tornado in the driveway. And I thought to myself, God's talking to me, man. What am I doing here? But it turned out to be great.
I believe you're the third Bowling Green head coach to go into the College Football Hall of Fame. What is it about Bowling Green that allowed you to build that resume to be honored like that?
Well, Bowling Green, it was an era where, like, for example, you probably heard about Black Wednesday. I don't know if you have, but Black Wednesday was the day that I warned them. I said, you're an embarrassment to this university, you're an embarrassment to your family, because they were. Call a spade a spade. I know nowadays you can't talk like that, but it was really bad. And I said the one thing and I heard they were missing class. Most of them were flunking out. And I said, I'm going to go to the festival because Notre Dame asked me to coach one more game there. Don't miss class. And I said, repeat after me. Do not miss class because I want to make sure they're paying attention. Really bad looking group. And I said, repeat after me. Don't miss class. And I come back after the bowl game. They all missed class. So basically they were challenging me. And we did the Black Wednesday at the indoor facility, and 18 players quit that day. And they should have quit. They weren't Division I players. They weren't students. They should have left. And then what I did find out, to this day, that's arguably the greatest group of seniors I've ever been around. Ryan Wingroves and Gary Fishers and Kerry Campbell's and those, and the guys we're going to see here in a little bit. It was none better.
And that allowed you to learn exactly how much you could push future teams?
Yeah, I was a nut job. I grew up in a military family. I studied Navy SEALs and Special Ops and Army Rangers, and Ryan Wingrove was over my house a few months ago, brought his family on his way to Disney, and we were in tears laughing because he said if the transfer portal was around when I was coaching, every person on that place would have left. And I said, I know this. I tried to make it like that because I would actually tell them I'm going to make you ring the bell today. And those who stay will be champions. I remember that saying. I don't know if people say that anymore.
It's obviously a big football weekend, throughout the state of Ohio. How excited are you about tonight's game, and then to get down to Columbus and have that, be the week one opener in the Big Ten?
As excited about that one, I can't wait for tonight. I can't wait to see. I've not been to a game here since. I've been here, spoke a few times, and to be at the SIBO Center with my former players and to watch that beautiful stadium. I mean, it looks beautiful. And it's going to be a nice crowd, and I can't wait. And then obviously Columbus, it's going to be a monster.
When you look at your impact on college football, the power spread offense, how did you implement that? Where did that idea come from? And how have you seen that offense kind of take over college football?
I talked to Dan Mullen about that. He was my GA at Notre Dame, and there is no spread offense. And that's what I'm not sure people really realize. I'm glad you asked that question. And we almost went wishbone, because it's the equalizer offense. Academies do it. And I looked at our roster. We're playing Missouri, we're playing Temple, we're playing Kansas, I think. I mean, we had obviously the Rockets, and Western Michigan was good, Marshall. We can't play with them, with who we have right now. And I kind of undervalued our talent because I didn't know. But we just started studying, and Greg Brandon was our offense coordinator, Dan Mullen, myself, and we just started moving the chairs out of the way and said, let's try this. Why not? And we had wishbone principles in a power offense, and we threw the ball. And it took off, and by the time we were finished at Utah, it was majority of high schools across this country were running the spread offense.
You and Jim Tressel both talked about, what the community here, how it takes more than just, coaching an X's and O's to be good at Bowling Green. Just what makes the personality of Eddie George the right fit here? Because it sounds like he's pretty excited to be here.
I thought it would be, but Eddie George is on Broadway. Eddie George owns businesses. Eddie George has plenty of money. Eddie George is a Heisman, why? And I killed him on that. Well, I didn't kill him, but I hammered him on the phone. I said, don't you dare even think about this unless you understand what it is. And it's a very unique place. I think all places are that way to a degree, but this one, if you don't do that, there'll be no one in the stadium. It's just not, and I think that's when you watch TV, sometimes you look at those stadiums, no one's there because the coach is more worried about how deep the curl route is instead of meeting with the students. And that's something I learned actually from Earl Bruce at Colorado State. He made us go out all the time. And then I get here, and Dan Dockich was still one of my closest friends, my neighbor. We would at least twice a week. He said, "I'll meet you over at the student union," and we'd walk around and shake hands. I'd bring my daughter sometimes, go pick her up at school, and we were all at Sambees, we were always at Trotters, Di Benedetto's. I know we lost Chris, but and Carter Park. We were at Carter Park all the time. To say I really wanted to be there all the time, not really, but I understood that you got to shake hands and come to the game,
In terms of college football, big picture, and I know they're on the other side of the stadium this weekend, but what has Lee Corso meant to the sport, and just what has he meant to you? I'm sure you've had chances to meet him in the past.
I worked with ESPN for a while. I did a lot of guest game days, and Coach Corso is the epitome of TV. He would coach me on television. He was a guy that is obviously legendary in the sport. I love Coach Corso. I respect Coach Corso and admire what he did.
What do you think Dave Portnoy and the Barstool crew can kind of add to the Big Noon experience?
I'm waiting to see you, man. I met him one time. He came. I just don't follow much. I'm not a social media person, and so my daughter is so excited about it because she says it's going to really, explode. And all of a sudden, I see all the chaos, and so I'm just going to go do my job. And I guess I got to hear about the Wolverines all the time from them, but we're 7-0, so we're all right.
You talked about the challenges with the landscape of college football for especially smaller schools on the panel. How do you think Eddie George has done so far in his coaching career of navigating that? And did you give him any advice coming to BG on how to do?
I don't know. I'm going to watch tonight, to be honest. I talked to him. We text a lot. To know his roster and what he did, I'm not that deep into it. I know we talked today, and I can tell he's excited. I can tell an excited coach when I see one. So
You played such a
I'm gonna
huge.
take just 2 more. Go eat.
You played such a huge role in bringing.
Bowling Green. Someone got that in the SID, right? No one feeds you. Yeah, I've been grinding now.
Agreed. You play.
We'll save Frickers for you.
Frickers. TV shows are like radio shows.
You played in such a big role, obviously bringing Eddie George to Bowling Green. Everyone's excited about what he's going to do potentially on the field for Bowling Green results-wise. If you could pick just one word to describe Eddie George, the person, what word would you use and why?
Just blue collar, man. I mean, Eddie George is, you look at him, he looks like a freaking model. But he also, his reputation at Ohio State was he's first one there, last one to leave, hard worker. And the same thing here. So he's a grinder. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Great day.